Os Vikings, conhecidos por suas habilidades de combate, Vigens longas e resistência física, também possuíam conhecimento profundo sobre o sono. The Vikings, known for their combat skills, long voyages, and physical endurance, also possessed a profound understanding of sleep. Contrary to what we imagine, the practice of rest was much more than just a moment of disconnection for these northern warriors. For the Vikings, sleep was a strategic tool for survival and mental preparation. The Viking sleep rituals were deeply connected to their spirituality. Odin, the god of the Vikings, was considered a master of wisdom, and Viking warriors believed sleep had a direct connection with the gods. It was through sleep that the warriors' souls connected with the divine, receiving insights and strength for battle. The practice of fragmented sleep was common among them, a style that aimed to optimize rest without sacrificing physical performance. The Viking warriors did not follow the standard of sleeping 8 hours straight. When we think about sleep, we often see it as a purely physical process. However, the Vikings had a different perspective. For them, sleep was a bridge to the spiritual world. The practice of resting was intertwined with mystical rituals tied to their beliefs in gods and spirits. Odin, for example, sacrificed part of his sleep in his quest for wisdom. According to legends, he traded his eye for a sip of mead, the elixir of wisdom, and spent 9 nights hanging from a tree, sleepless, to gain hidden knowledge. This act of sleep deprivation is seen as the origin of the Viking sleep rituals. The concept of Odin's sleep is rooted in a worldview where deprivation and discipline are not seen as punishments, but as paths to higher states of consciousness and power. By sacrificing sleep, Odin transcended the physical and accessed the world of divine ideas. This brought wisdom that couldn't be attained through conventional rest, something the Vikings would carry on in their own lives. Viking warriors followed this example, believing that sleep deprivation or modulating their sleep cycles provided mental clarity that would have been impossible to achieve during normal sleep. This ritual was not only about physical strength, but also about how to connect with a greater power to accomplish heroic feats and survive extreme difficulties. But how could Odin's sleep be applied to the Viking warriors' practice? The answer lies in the meditation and deep breathing techniques they used to enter a deep state of relaxation. This allowed them to achieve rapid recovery, keeping their bodies and minds prepared for the demands of battle. The deepest secret of Viking sleep is directly tied to Odin, the supreme god of the Vikings. Odin sacrificed his own sleep to obtain eternal wisdom. According to legends, he traded his eye for a sip of mead, the elixir of wisdom, and spent 9 nights hanging from a tree, sleepless, to gain hidden knowledge. This act of sleep deprivation is seen as the origin of the Viking sleep rituals. The concept of Odin's sleep is rooted in a worldview where deprivation and discipline are not seen as punishments, but as paths to higher states of consciousness and power. By sacrificing sleep, Odin transcended the physical and accessed the world of divine ideas. This brought wisdom that couldn't be attained through conventional rest, something the Vikings would carry on in their own lives. Viking warriors followed this example, believing that sleep deprivation or modulating their sleep cycles provided mental clarity that would have been impossible to achieve during normal sleep. This ritual was not only about physical strength, but also about how to connect with a greater power to accomplish heroic feats and survive extreme difficulties. One of the key tools the Vikings used to optimize sleep and improve the quality of their rest were herbs and medicinal plants. Knowledgeable of the natural properties of the world around them, the Vikings used a variety of plants to help relax the body and prepare the mind for sleep. Among the most common plants were valerian, ginseng, and lavender, all with calming and sedative properties. These herbs not only helped with sleep, but were also part of a larger set of practices aimed at mental and spiritual restoration. Valerian, for example, was known for its calming effect and for inducing a deep and restorative sleep. Ginseng, on the other hand, helped to increase energy and endurance, allowing the Vikings to maintain their performance while resting for shorter periods. The use of plants and herbs in sleep was a practice deeply tied to their understanding of the natural world. For the Vikings, nature was not just an external environment, but an extension of their own being. and they sought ways to connect with it more deeply by using its resources to enhance their rest and rejuvenation practices. These plants were also linked to purification rituals and spiritual connection. It was believed that by ingesting these herbs, the warrior was preparing for the sleep journey with a purifying mind and body, ready to connect with the divine or achieve a heightened state of consciousness. The concept of polyphasic sleep, which involves dividing the rest period into multiple short sessions, is an ancient practice that dates back to the Vikings. Unlike monophonic sleep 8 hours straight, the Vikings believed that sleep could be optimized by breaking it up into shorter cycles. This not only allowed them to recover more quickly, but also optimized the time available for other activities, such as training and battle. Modern research on polyphasic sleep has shown that this type of rest can improve productivity and focus, very similar to the practices of the Vikings. However, scientists are still exploring how fragmented sleep can be optimized for different lifestyles and mental and physical recovery. The Vikings were also known for their extremely long and risky sea voyages. To face the challenges of these journeys, polyphasic sleep was an essential tool, allowing them to remain alert while ensuring their bodies were prepared to face any adversity. To stay vigilant during the long voyages, they used polyphasic sleep techniques, resting in short cycles and rotating throughout the night. This allowed each crew member enough time to rest, but without compromising the collective vigilance needed for the journey's safety. Sleep was not just a moment of rest for the Vikings, but a vital tool for physical and mental recovery. The bodies of the warriors needed to be in peak condition, both for battle and for long journeys of exploration. Sleep was seen as a means to restore strength and mental health, crucial for ensuring the warriors were always ready for the next battle. The Vikings understood the importance of sleep, not just as a biological process, but as a spiritual and mental practice. During sleep, the body recovered from the day's tensions, but the mind also regenerated, forming new connections and strengthening memory. This process was amplified by the meditation techniques and the use of herbs, which allowed the Vikings to achieve deep recovery, even with shorter periods of rest. Vikings were famous for their epic journeys, but how did they manage to conquer such distant lands with such short amounts of sleep? How did sleep and mental preparation play a role in their long sea voyages? Let's explore how sleep, focus, and Viking spiritual rituals helped them overcome impossible challenges and conquer unimaginable territories. The Viking legacy on sleep goes beyond ancient practices. Today, we can apply many of their knowledge and techniques to improve our own physical and mental health. The lessons of how to optimize sleep, practice meditation, and use nature to our advantage are more relevant than ever. The secret of Viking sleep teaches us that rest doesn't have to be just a break, but a powerful practice of regeneration. Based on modern discoveries about sleep, we can follow the Vikings' example and use these secrets to improve our everyday lives.